if you happen to be joining the live stream right now, I think only one person is at this point in time, based on the data I have. We are streaming the show 90 minutes early on this Friday morning, the Pete the Planner experience. Dame and Kristen join me. Now, Dame, Kristen is unhappy with me.
Oh?
Well, I mean, she's here and she is not a morning person.
She's unhappy about this. I thought maybe there was another reason she was unhappy with you.
Well, that's fair. I'm clear.
Probably. At any given time, if we're being honest, like go through the people in your life. Hello, Reverend Renfro. Of course, she is a ray of sunshine. Reverend Renfro, of course, is up in the morning because she is sunshine. She is sunshine personified. Anyway, Dame, I have a list of everyone in my life in my head, and I think every single one of them is mad at me.
A personal record?
No, I think just for some reason.
Okay.
Nah.
No, it's not a record.
Friday.
I mean, sometimes people that aren't in my life are mad at me. How about that?
That's
Hello, Tom Ricks. Good to see you. Guys, I saw a piece in the Times this week. The Times of London. No, New York Times Style Magazine. I saw this online. I don't actually read New York Times Style Magazine. And the title is called How to Be a Good Guest at a Dinner Party. And so what I wanted to do to start the show today is I want to give it the tips on what it takes to be a good guest, and then for us to self-evaluate how good we are at those things. Okay, so I'm going to go on a scale of 1 to 10. If you are good at this, you are a 10.
Okay.
If you are awful at this, you are a 1. If you are good at this, you are a 10. You are awful at this at 1. The first is, and we'll go Kristen, Dame, me. Okay. The first is to RSVP with intention. Oftentimes, people kind of reluctantly RSVP, and then they kind of don't want to go, but they go anyway, and then they don't really want to be there. The tip says, if you're going to go, you commit and you go with everything. You go with gusto. RSVP with intention when invited to a dinner party. 1 to 10. Kristen's face looks like confusion, but what are you, Kristen?
The person who wrote this article's circle is too small for someone to write this article, because if I had to RSVP with intention to everything we're invited to, that's all I would get done, gentlemen.
Wow, she is popular.
No, it's just the phase of life. And anyway, I would say I'm like a 7, 6.
Okay. Dame?
Solid 1. I mean, you're talking to a person who would much rather just send a gift than go to certain things just to save everybody the time, the hassle, and the expense. So it's a 1.
Kristen, can I ask a clarifying question? Are you an etiquette person? Do you know stuff like this?
I don't know formally, but I am very, very empathetic, which I think just naturally translates of how would I want someone to show up to an event I was hosting? Okay,
so here's the question. RSVP means are you going to go or are you not going to go?
Correct. It should be a binary, yes or no.
So I give no with intention, right? And so I feel like I'm a 10. Hey, do you want to come over? No, I don't. And I'm good with that.
You know what? I hadn't thought about it that way. I'm probably a solid 5.
Okay. I got invited to a wedding recently. My wife's like, are we going? I'm like, no, I don't want to go. She's like, well, why not? I'm like, because I literally would rather die. She's like, but you like this person. I was like, I really do. I just don't want to go.
Fair.
Next up, be reasonably on time, but never early. If it's a small dinner party, 10 minutes late max is the rule, but never a minute early. Okay. So Kristen, can you comply with this? 1 to 10, 10 being, yeah, you can do that.
If both Maggie's dad and I are invited, no, I cannot. I'm a 1.
I first heard that as if both Maggie's dads and I was like, boy, this took a turn.
We're a 1 as a household. Okay, Kristen, 10.
Oh, geez, Dame.
I've gotten better at this as I've gotten older because the default was always early by a fair amount. So it's probably a 6.
I'm a 1. I'm 10 minutes early. I can't help it. My wife is embarrassed. She hates it. She might sit in the car, but I'm going in.
They're still setting up the party, and Pete's like, "Hello,
Hey, how can I help?
Yeah.
Where's the beer?" I don't think I'd ever show up at someone's house and be like, "Hey, where's the beer?
But you will now.
Where's the Coors Banquet beer?" Okay. When bringing food or gifts, trust your instinct and bring something meaningful as opposed to just hamburger buns. All right? Like bring nice flowers, a thoughtful bottle of wine, a framed piece of hand-sketched art. Something 1 to 10. Kristen, if you're going to bring something for the host, 1 to 10, are you good at this or are you terrible at this?
No one brings anything for a host. 1.
Boy, so you're all 1. Okay, Dame.
We don't do that very often, but it's almost always a bottle of wine, and it's something that we know that we think that they would really enjoy based off of what we think their preferences are. So I think there's pretty good intention and thoughtfulness there. I'll go with 8.
I'm an 8 or a 9, and I like to bring something, whether it's something. Okay, maybe it's a generational thing, Chris.
Oh, I take bottles of whiskey all the time if I know the husband's a whiskey guy and they haven't maybe had something, or I've got something special. Yeah, so a solid 8, maybe 9.
Sometimes I take a bottle of whiskey if the guy's wife's really annoying and I feel bad for him.
Yes.
I'm like, here, drink this. Just kidding.
You're not.
I don't know. Here's the reality, and we all know where this is heading. This is why I don't get invited to parties. Because of my aggregate score here. +1s are a privilege, not a right. I don't think any of this applies to us.
I don't either.
Kristen, is anyone inviting you to their house without your man?
So funny that you say that. Because this does happen not infrequently. Like, for example, my sister was recently invited to, this happens to me too, but the most recent example, my sister was recently invited to a wedding. Her and her husband have been married for, I don't know, a couple years maybe.
Yeah.
And they've been together for like 6 or 7. The invitation came to the house that is in my sister's name, addressed to her husband and guest. I said I will not be in attendance.
Dame, I assume like people will invite my wife and not me, but no one invites me and not my wife.
Nobody wants to see me. So
no one wants to see me. Okay, so that one does not apply. And I think we have one final one before we move on. No, we have a lot. Okay, last one, because we have an actual. What do we talk about in art? What's this show about? Mm-hmm. If you're at the dinner, connect with people, engage in conversation, be socially energetic and giving and generous. 1 to 10. Kristen, what are you?
9.
Dame?
It really depends on the topic. I mean, if it's something I can lean into, great, or I can have a little fun with. But if it's going in a direction I don't care with, I'm staring at my napkin in my lap. So I'll 4.
Dame, I'm either a 4 or an 8. Like it just depends.
Yes.
I if it gets to something I live that is just I don't care about at all, and not even like world politics. I'll engage in that, but just something like Real Housewives of Salt Lake or something. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm actually going to fake a heart attack. Anyway, let's do the financial show. You guys ready?
Yes.
As I'll ever be.
Was that fun?
I have learned that advice was dated, but I enjoyed it.
3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show works. You email us, askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's askpete@petetheplanner.com. And here's what will happen. We will discuss your question on the air. We will help you with your financial life. I said we. and I'm not French, and I didn't mean yes. So that means it is plural, and it's American. Kristen Elanius, a true American, is here joining us as co-host. Hello, Kristen.
Hello.
Did you just laugh at that?
I did because I thought of New Girl.
Damian Dunn is here. Did you also think of Nude Girl?
Did you say new girl?
Like,
This week's show is on financial marketing and how it doesn't necessarily mean what you think it means. I'll speak for Dame and I. I don't know if this annoys Kristen as much as it annoys Damian and I, but Damian Dunn, that is Damian Andrew Dunn.
Hi.
We get really upset with financial planning marketing and the words used in advertisements and how insincere and unmeaningful they are. Kristen, do you get as upset as the old man and I?
I don't, but I think that that'll make for really good perspective today.
All right. Well, the first thing we're going to do on the show is we're going to tackle stuff that is true, phrases that are true, but they aren't exactly the whole truth. And so it's like when you hear them, you can go, oh, but don't go, uh-huh. You have to go, oh. Right, Dame? Is that how you would say it?
Yeah, it's that second one that's the kind of like the introspective. I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm. What's the first phrase that comes to mind for you that is true, but it ain't the whole truth?
It has to be the classic, we do better when you do better, right?
It drives me bonkers. Like, if someone asked me, like, what is my biggest pet peeve? I would honestly say not wearing shoes on an airplane. And then I would say, we do better when you do better.
It's obnoxious. And for those of you that may be new to this and haven't heard something like that, what they're referring to is that an advisor who is paid on a fee basis won't make more money unless your account value is higher than when you started working with them. Now, there's a catch to that. They still do okay even if your portfolio loses money, right? If you've got $1 million and they're paid 1%, it's 10 grand. 10 grand a year.
$10,000. And let's say you lose $100,000 this year. Dame, the person is still getting $9,000.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I will stand in the advisor's shoes.
Of course.
Maybe everybody else lost $150,000 or $200,000 and they mitigated your losses. There's still some value. There's a lot of value in that, a ton of value. But it's not, I feel, as genuine as the we do better when you do better kind of messaging on this.
Kristen, I think to the point of this part of the show, it is true. Advisors should be paid. They do better when you do better. But the omission of sort of the rest of the pricing dynamic, I find, is insincere.
Okay. Does it bother you more that part you feel is like not covered? Or does it bother you more? I guess I'm trying to understand, like, it's fundamentally true. So you just wish they expanded on it in a commercial.
Okay, so what if reality was we do better when you do better, and when you do worse, we still do pretty okay? It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well, does it? But that's the truth.
It's honest.
It would. I love advisors. Yes. I think everyone should have a financial advisor. I think some firms, Fisher Investments specifically, loves this phrase. That is their trademark phrase. Dame, let's just a quick role play. Do you want to be the advisor or the client?
I'll be the client.
Okay. Hey, we do better when you do better.
Well, that sounds pretty good. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. If your money, if we help you increase the value of your accounts, then our fee goes up proportionate to that.
Okay, I think that makes sense. And if my portfolio goes down, you don't get paid?
No. We just make the same percentage we always make, but since you have less, you had to pay us less. Actually, that was a pretty good explanation. Oh my God, I am so good at this. Next one is we are fiduciaries. Dame, wildly important.
Yes.
Why does it not tell the whole story?
Well, some people aren't held to a fiduciary standard. They can claim they're fiduciaries, but they may not have to always be fiduciaries. Now, I understand that if you're using that, it should be across everything that you do in that relationship with that client. However, there's nobody that's going to double check that. There's nobody standing over your shoulder that's going to say, I don't think that was right. I don't think that was in your client's best interest. You might have taken a couple extra basis points that you didn't deserve there. You could have found a cheaper option for them and got the same return. So we are fiduciaries is really important. It's just really hard to know if they're acting in that way all the time.
See, that one for me, I hear you, but I think that one for me is more about it implies like a level of knowledge, which doesn't have to be there. Like to me, I feel like it's more like it feels like I was certified or like I got this degree. Like it feels like a check in the box in terms of like achievement, but that you can be acting in someone's best interest, but not have enough information to be making the best decision.
Pete, when some people say, I hear you, feel like they're winding up for a slap or something.
Oh, that's Kristen's power
Okay.
move.
Yeah.
Kristen will often say, I hear you. And then she will say the opposite of not hearing you. Here's how I think about this. Again, very pro advisor. Like we want you to have, we love advisors. We think they're great. I hear this two ways. Number one, when a politician says, I represent my constituents, the views of my constituents, I feel like it's the same thing. Number two, if you think about securities fraud and who gets brought up on charges and Ponzi schemes and all that, and you go, who were fiduciaries and who weren't, they can't even tell.
Yeah.
It doesn't even really matter. If the person's a crook, they're a crook, whether they're fiduciary or not.
Yes.
That's fair.
We don't earn commissions, I think is a really interesting one. And if it's often used on the back of being a fiduciary, we're fiduciary, we don't earn commissions. Okay, they are a fiduciary, they don't earn commissions, but Dame, why is that not the whole story?
Well, so that depends a lot, again, on the relationship that they have with you. Now, if they're a fee-only advisor, okay, they don't earn commissions. And once upon a time, that was much harder to pull off than it is now because they've got different kinds of products that used to be commission only, but now you're allowed to drag a fee out of them. The bottom line is commissions don't make somebody bad.
Exactly.
You can be a wonderful advisor and still get paid through commissions.
I mean, okay, so people get upset about realtors, Kristen. They get upset with the commissions realtors earn. So as we've talked about on the show in the last couple of years, realtors have started calling their commissions fees so that they can say, oh, we don't have a commission, we just have a fee. And the fee is 5% or whatever.
And it's a lot.
See, look at her getting upset. Dame, I'm so glad you said that because I find it insincere to just throw anyone who earns commissions under the bus and make the assertion that they're not aligned with your interests.
Yes.
Kristen, how do you feel that way with 20 seconds left?
Yeah, I do. I get the industry vibe around it, but I do.
All right, let's do this. This is a fun show. Dame, thank you for programming it. We are coming back with more. Next, words that sound impressive, but tell you almost nothing. That is next right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. This portion of the program is brought to you by NeighborServe. And I'm sitting at home this week and I get a text message from a dear, dear friend. This is not a friend who is a woodland creature. Anyway, it's a dear friend. And they say to me, I heard your interview with Dan Hanrahan on your show about NeighborServe, in their concierge program. It must be the most perfect business idea I've ever heard of. Do you love it? I said, of course I love it. Person called and signed up. They went to neighborserve.com/Pete for a free month of home concierge service. Here's the reality. You are busy. I am busy. I don't have time to vet vendors and contractors. I don't have a time for all of that. And when the job goes well, great. When it doesn't go well, I just go back to NeighborServe and say, hey, can you make this right? and they help me get to the bottom of it. But that never happens because the vendors they choose, the contractors they choose, make sense, and they're not getting paid to recommend them. So go to neighborserve.com/Pete. It is my highest recommendation to you. If you are a homeowner, do it. Do it. That's the ad. It's just, I'm going to get an email about that later. All right. Dame Kristen, hello.
Hello.
I have to do the show early today, and we still have some people here, so that is good. Kristen, I am going. Hi, Andy and Chris and Jenny. I'm sorry we're early. I have to drive to French Lick today. A 2-hour drive, talk for an hour, and then a 2-hour drive home on a Friday afternoon, in which I then get to call Kristen and have our one-on-one for the week. So, Dame, do you feel like people who've never heard of French Lick or been to French Lick or in Indiana or Kentucky for that matter, do you feel like they hear French Lick and they're like, oh?
Possibly. I'm curious. Do you think they're owing about it sounds exotic? Yeah. Man, that's a great question because I hear it. We know all about it. We're from Indiana. We know the lore of French Lick, and it's just like, man, okay.
Kristen, you're much younger than Dame and I. What's your all due respect to the people of French Lick, Kristen, when you hear French Lick, what do you think?
That's so interesting because you reference being from Indiana, and I had never even heard of it until like 4 years ago when we went.
You've also not seen every movie ever movied.
Right. I didn't know anything about, I mean, I know who Larry Bird is, but didn't know. So we went there. I wouldn't have guessed that it was so nice.
I would classify it this way with kindness. I've heard once said, it is more lick than it is French.
Wow. Okay.
You know? Anyway, so that's what I'm doing today. All right, that's why we're early. Okay, let's keep going. In 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show, talking about financial marketing. You read in whatever you read, or you listen to whatever you listen to, or watch whatever you watch. And financial marketers are hitting you with all sorts of phrases, things that get you excited. We are fiduciaries. We do not earn commissions. We only make money when you make money, sort of thing. And so we're breaking it down today of what it means. Now we are on to things that sound really impressive, but mean close to nothing. All right. So Dame is the godfather of this topic today. So we will continue to lean on him. And Kristen and I will just react. Dame, I'm so with you here because this means nothing. Literally nothing. A personalized portfolio.
Drives me nuts.
It means nothing.
Means nothing because inside baseball, anybody who's ever done this job, by this job I mean financial advisor, knows that you're going to really favor somewhere between 10, 15, maybe 20 different investments. And they're going to find their way into just about every single one of your clients' portfolios in varying allocations based on risk tolerance, time horizon, all that fun stuff. So is it personalized? Technically, yes, sure, because everybody's got their own flavor, but it's all got the same ingredients.
Dave, I'm trying to not be distracted by Kristen's art lighting this morning.
Yes. It's because it's so early.
It's like radio noir. I don't even. I
don't know.
I love it. I love it.
You're like an MC Escher drawing. What, Kristen? When you think of personalized, are Dave and I just cranky old men, or what do you think by personalized portfolio? And before you answer that, are you going to grab a beret to answer this?
I will not be. No. Here's my thing about the personalized portfolio. I don't really want one.
What does that even mean?
I mean, what do I care? Like, put the account in some index funds, and it like I think it's selling. I feel like the impression that it's trying to give is that it's selling something that most people like don't even really need, like what it's implying that it's offering.
So let me follow that up, because I think this could be a really interesting question that would potentially derail the entire segment, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Kristen, what value do advisors bring to the table on the investing side of things, in your opinion?
What a can of worms, Damien.
That's why I said it could derail the entire segment.
Well, at the risk of not doing that, I'll keep my answer relatively simple, which is I just view it to be a lot more about behavior and education and steady guidance. And I view it more about who they are as a person and not necessarily the way that investment mix is or isn't in their portfolio.
Yeah. Pete, feel free to disagree with me. And I think Kristen to a large degree. A portfolio doesn't have to be complicated to be good. One of the biggest benefits that working with an advisor offers is they will help prevent you from making catastrophic mistakes with your investments. Not necessarily that they're going to pick all the best investments. They're going to help guide you through rough waters when they inevitably come, and maybe give you the strategy that you need to make sure that everything's still going to work out the way you want for that ultimate goal, whether it's retirement or whatever. So it's not being the smartest guy in the room and picking the investments or implementing some amazing strategy. It's keeping the ship steady, in my opinion.
Just joining us here on the Pete the Planner Show. We're talking financial marketing words translated, joined by Damien Dunn and Art House Kristen.
It's so good.
The light is so severe. Oh, it's so great. This is the best moment of my life. Like we had kids, my wife and I, and they're fine, but this is good.
That shadow on the left side of her face.
Because I have
awesome. It's awesome.
You know what? I did the two of you a favor being here early, and I just won't do that next time.
Holistic wealth management, Dame. This one, I feel like it popped up 8 years ago or so. Like, it's holistic. I was like, okay, what does it? Okay.
That's it. There's no full definition of what holistic is, because if you're working with a certified financial planner practitioner, that's going to mean something completely different than if you're talking to somebody who's just slinging annuities at you, because they're not going to potentially have the same duty to go out and look at all the different components of your financial life. So holistic wealth management, it sounds great. It's a great catchphrase, but there's nothing to standardize it.
Kristen, how do you think about, I mean, I say this truly like in a positive sense, like you have studied financial behavior and financial planning on a very academic level. Holistic at times kind of feels like it's in that realm. Does it mean anything to you?
It doesn't, but I wish that it did. Like, yeah. I wish that that combination of words meant what, to your point, like maybe my more academic leaning brain was hoping that they actually do. And I don't think that it means that you're going to have guidance from someone who has background training, even if it's not like a full degree, but like cross training in concepts in financial therapy or financial counseling, like those really tactical solutions that can help you level up. I don't think that's what's actually happening. And I wish that's what it meant.
Dame, I'm going to rattle off 5 of these phrases and you choose which one you want to click in on, okay? Mm-hmm. Independent advice, comprehensive planning, proprietary process, institutional quality investing, and then access to sophisticated strategies. Which ones grinds your gears the most?
Proprietary process or institutional quality investing. Proprietary process, prove it. I mean... What is the process? You're going to have to explain it to me and why it's better, what you do, why it's better than anybody else, because there's not a lot of magic to go around when it comes to being a good advisor. It's you dot your I's, cross your T's, ask the right questions, do the right stuff, have access to reasonable tools and products that you can put the client in to make sure that they're can achieve those goals and get that stability. But proprietary process, I mean, I've worked with people in the past who their niche was doctors in this case. And so they created a proprietary process that was going to meet the needs of those doctors and their planning issues that they typically face. Well, it was just repackaged financial planning. That's all it was. It was just had a name and a fancy one sheet that went along with it. So proprietary process means very little.
Kristen, in some sense, when I hear proprietary process, I hear, especially if the person's an independent advisor, I think, great, but do they know what they're doing? Right? Like it could be proprietary. Again, as someone who's come up with a thing or two, there's some things I came up with early, arguably late, that I'm like, is it any good?
That's so fair. And as you were reading through, there's one on the list that you didn't mention that's actually my biggest grievance.
Oh, hit it.
Which is, we treat clients like family. No.
Well, I think we've all learned collectively of having worked together for a very long time. Dame and I have the same last name. We always talk about how we're not family. I do love him like a brother, or a son. However, like, we're teammates more than we're family. And like, I would argue you and your advisor are teammates more than your family, as any workplace should be, Kristen.
Yes, and I think a lot of people who work in a professional type setting or like a consultative type setting, you don't want your family as your clients. At least I wouldn't if I were an advisor. That's like, it's the relationship is just different.
I agree. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a break. I'm going to come back and give you sort of the list we just went through, the one that sticks out to me, but then we're going to talk about how to protect yourself from persuasive financial marketing and still have a great relationship with an advisor. All that's next on the Pete the Planner Show. I am Pete the Planner. I have to admit, when I see on LinkedIn or something where someone's like, the so-and-so family, but they're just talking about the company, it's really uncomfortable. And you guys know corporate culture is hard.
Yeah.
It is not easy. And it is like, I'm not saying it's easy because it ain't, it's not, I'm not even saying I'm good at it. it's very hard. Family's a little rough. And oftentimes people will say, you're not going to fire your family, right? You're not going to lay off your family. And then some people are like, well, I would. And it's like, okay, well, now you're missing the point. This family just feels a little forced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy said she just saw one yesterday said that use the family line and that we do better when you do better. Yeah, I mean, we I do have the one I want to get to, but I guess I should do it on the air since I just promised the immense radio audience that we're going to do it on air. Okay. By the way, I have breaking news. I mean, breaking from like 48 hours ago, but it's breaking to you. I got new frames and I'll have them on in the next week and a half.
I was going to say they look exactly like your old
No, not there. I don't have them yet.
Okay.
You guys didn't even notice.
Guys, I went to the person. What do they call optometrist?
Yeah.
There is an ophthalmologist, but that's like the doctor.
Yeah.
Went to the optometrist and like she's talking to me and I'm showing her what frames I'm getting, whatever. And she's like, oh, I really like those. I was like, thanks. And then she was, oh, I like your frames now. It's like, thanks. And so I'm off doing something else in the area. And then she's talking to someone else. And then she's like, oh, I really like those. I'm like, oh, come on. This happens to me all the time. Some clerk will call me sweetie. And I'm like, yeah. Or my Pilates instructor will be like, great job today. And then they compliment someone else and just ruins everything.
You know what? I didn't even get the compliment, but I remember the story when we were across the street and you were walking to get a coffee or something, and you said somebody drove by and you were, dressed in a suit and whatever, then they yelled out their window and some compliment to you and how it just changed. I still think about that. I was like, man, that had to have just been an amazing, pick me up for that day.
It was. And then like to think they go to the next parking lot.
Yeah.
There's some other person in a suit. And then they're like, I like your suit. And then I'm like, that ruined my day.
Exactly.
Kristen, the lighting is less severe now.
It is less severe, but I have another monitor over here for my computer,
Yeah.
and I turned it on and put white screen, so it's balancing the fact that this light is so severe.
There was at one point in that segment that it really
You
was
couldn't
the
even
best.
see me. I'm like a ghost.
It was so great.
Go back and watch it. It was amazing.
I look like I have no tan, which is actually not accurate.
It reminded me of Mrs. Planner and I's engagement photos from 1999. And like, there's some black and whites where we're just sort of like, she's like copying my face. Yo, we've been married for 26 years this coming week. She ain't never cut my face except in that photo. I love that where we capture the only time in life she's ever cupped my face, and it was with art lighting.
You memorialized it. So.
Scale of 1 to 10 quickly. How big of a waste of money are wedding photos?
I'm not getting into this because I don't need the email, but
I'm not afraid to say. Actually, that's not true. That's not true. Like an 8.
26 years of marriage this Wednesday. We are now at. We don't get gifts, right? Like we just say, we're just going to dinner, right? Yeah. Or I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in Grand Rapids. You're cool, right? Yeah. All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show, talking financial marketing terms, what they mean, how they try to persuade us, what they don't mean. Here's the one. Here's the concept that drives me crazy when I hear personalized portfolio or customized strategy. Dame, let's say I'm a money manager and I got an idea that I think is going to make my clients money.
Okay.
I'm totally making something up. So let's say like I think SpaceX is neat.
Yeah.
I have a list of clients, and if I don't have trading authority to just do what I want to do, I have to call and run the idea by my people. And there is going to be a set group of people, arguably most of them, that I'm going to call and say, what do you think about SpaceX? What do you think about SpaceX? What do you think about SpaceX? And so is that a personalized portfolio? Is it a customized strategy? Or is it that most of the people's money you manage kind of fits within the same horizon and risk tolerance for the most part? There are differences. But it's still the allocation. Now, you could call it the speculative allocation or the growth allocation. That's not personalized nor customized, other than when you call the person, you call them by their first name.
Yes. It's exactly what I'm saying is like you're going to have different flavors inside of those bands for whether that's risk tolerance or maybe a special, accommodation here, but you're going to have the same basic portfolios used over and over and over again. The weighting may be slightly different just because of how long they've been in things, but overall, well, I guess unless you rebalance them regularly, which you should be doing anyway. So there's mass customization essentially is what it is.
Nicholas makes a good point in the stream comments here. If the firm is claiming they treat you like family, what if your families are jerks and they don't talk to you but once every couple of years? You don't need that. Like it's all relative. Dame, what are the 5 questions you can ask as a client, as a prospect, as an investor when you hear these terms or your advisor says these sorts of terms? Like how do you begin to sort through, is this marketing jibble jarble or is it something real?
I think the first question you have to ask is, what does it mean in practical terms? If you hear one of these claims that we've talked about, we do better when you do better. Well, what does that really mean? How does that impact me? And what does better mean for them?
I think the next one on the list, Kristen, is the one that wakes up everyone involved because Dame made reference to it earlier. Dame, to manage a $1 million portfolio with standard fees, it costs what per year?
So I think this isn't the same as it used to be when you and I were doing this. I think it's actually gone up. We heard tons about fee compression. I think it's slightly above 1% now for a lot of people.
Jeez.
But
let's just say it's 1%. $10,000.
Yes.
But the point is, it's ask what your management is going to cost in dollars. Because, Kristen, you can have a portfolio and be like, it's only 1%. But the second you're like, that's $7,200 a year or whatever, it takes on a different shape.
Yeah, it actually does. And that's what's so hard about the way that it's packaged or marketed is like, I don't want to say that it is, but it feels a little dishonest or like you're trying to hide because those numbers feel really different. $10,000 feels really different than 1%, even though on the $1 million portfolio we just mentioned, it is exactly the same.
I have seen on some level that fees go down a little bit with volume, if you will. So, at 3 million, it's 0.75 or 0.5%. But I mean, if I had $3 million and I have to ask myself at 1%, does it make sense to have this person watch over and I pay them my first salary that I made as a human of $30,000? That's a tough nut to crack, brother.
Yeah, and you've got to, I'm not saying this justifies it, but you got to figure out exactly what services are provided for that fee as well, because that could vary drastically as well. How many meetings does that give me? How much access does that give me to this advisor? Is the financial plan included in that, or do I have to pay separately for the financial plan? Are all the investment fees wrapped up inside of that? There's just a number of questions that you want to ask to make sure that you understand you have a full scope of what the cost is going to be for that relationship.
Kristen, please go ahead.
I think that that's part of why I struggle with like percentages in across industries, like whether it's with tipping or real estate fees or investment fees as a percentage, because I, as a consumer, feel like I am punished for the people who aren't showing up as I want to be a good client. The server comes to the table. I'm like, no, we don't need anything. The food's wrong. As long as it's not crazy, absolutely don't take it back. Like, the realtor sends you a house. Yep, I'll do some of my own research. Like I'm trying to show up as a good client, but then I'm being charged the same as the person next to me who has been so demanding. Like that's where the fee thing is hard for me as a consumer.
Yeah, Dame, I that resonates with me because I think most people want to be a good client and they want to be in a sincere relationship in which words aren't being used to manipulate them.
Totally. And it can be difficult to foster relationships when there's already some anxiety and distrust around having somebody help you with something as important as this. So trying to have relationships that are genuine in this from both sides of the table, to be perfectly honest, can be really, really challenging with some personality types, and doesn't mean that somebody's doing something wrong. It just means it's going to be tougher.
I also want to make very clear, although probably too late, just because someone says any of these phrases we talked about today doesn't mean they're a bad person, doesn't mean they're trying to trick you. It just means that's where this industry has gotten. Now, the other side of this, I saw recently someone say, the best question you can ask your financial advisor is, would you recommend this for your mother if she were in this situation? And I'm like,
it's a horrible question.
I 100% agree. I think the premise that the mother would have the same financial situation based on her age alone is silly. I think it's also it is just an insincere question, just like some of these marketing things are insincere.
Was that an industry person that you heard that
from?
No,
it was not an industry person. It was some like life hack specialist on Reels.
Okay.
On Reels.
I was going to say TikTok, but I tried to keep it real.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kristen, that's a terrible question.
It's such a bad question. Like, it doesn't fit the industry. It doesn't, like, it just shows that someone doesn't know the industry, whoever recommended it. Yeah, I don't like the whole thing.
My favorite question to ask generally when I'm buying something is, what question am I not asking that makes me seem like I don't understand what's going on? Like,
I feel like it's a double-edged sword, because it takes all of the leverage that you might have out of the situation, because you're letting that other person now control what messaging they want to give you at that point. And so if you're not really comfortable or familiar with this kind of relationship, you've basically opened the doors for them to say whatever they want. And if you're not working with somebody who's reputable and looking out for your best interests, a genuine fiduciary, they can start spinning whatever they want. So I I've used that question, but I also realized that I've basically thrown my hands up and said, I'm ready. You just need to convince me at this point.
Kristen, you know what's interesting with all of this is for most people, their financial advisor in a fee-based relationship is the most money they pay anyone every single year. Like, I've actually never thought that thought until just now. It is the person you pay the most of your money to always. So it's kind of important to get it right.
Way to bury the lead there with 30 seconds left in the show. By the way, this is really important.
Oh boy. Okay, let's do this. I've got a great biggest waste of money of the week. Dame has got some news items, and we are days out from the Fed's decision in July, and the prediction markets are swinging wildly based on recent current events. All of that will be covered next on this Hail Radio program. I'm Pete the Planner. The Fed swings are wild. Because we talked about it, last week or 2 weeks ago? I just did some news segments, and on air, they started to swing. But then in relation to what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf of Oman, I don't know. Like, all of a sudden we have to be good at geography. I don't know what's happening, but they've changed, and we'll talk about it in a second.
Good thing I
both suspended for dead air. You're both have just been resuspended for dead air. In that moment, it was a trap. Kristen, 3-week suspension. Dame.
Remote work's going to come in handy now.
I was talking to a relative who occasionally listens to the show. Why did Kristen get suspended?
It's in her HR file. I can't talk about it.
I said it was
to discuss that.
Coarse language. That's Dame. Dame delayed suspension.
Yeah,
it was under review. There was a committee meeting.
Yeah, the Players Association finally. Yeah.
How long ago was that? Was that like 6 months ago?
Not long enough.
As we've said on this show many times after that moment, like, of all the people to have dropped that ball, I mean, I would have lost all the money that it would have been you. I would have gone me first, then absolutely Sailor Kristen.
Oh, well.
Okay, let's keep going.
We should have had a Kalshi market on that.
Oh, 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week right here on the Pete the Planner show is, trying to get the graphics right. There we go. It is the Louis Vuitton by Alex Israel Woody Wagon Colognes. Alex Israel has spent his career distilling Los Angeles into pop imagery like sunsets, palm trees, and surfboards. Since 2019, he's channeled that vision into collaborations with Jacques Cavallier, but no one cares, master perfumer of Louis Vuitton's perfumes. Their latest work is the Woody Wagon Cologne, a hand-built miniature wood-paneled station wagon that houses all 6 colognes in the collection, limited to 66 pieces as a wink to Route 66. It took 60 artisans more than 7,000 hours to assemble the wagon's 219 individual parts, from mahogany wood paneling and monogram engraved doors to wheels, finished with the house's monogram flower motif and trim and semi-aged natural beige leather. Inside are the 6 scents that make up the collection: Afternoon Swim, which was Dame's nickname in 3rd grade, Pacific Chill, which was my nickname in 3rd grade, Sun Song, California Dream, City of Stars, and On the Beach, which is Kristen's current nickname. Together, they capture the same inspiration Israel keeps returning to: surfboard strapped to the roof, family packed in the back, ocean waiting just past the next rise. I do want to make the point before we get to this that this is similar to the old Woody Jeep Wagoneer back in the day, which is my dream car. And I am not a dream car guy, But my dream car is the old school Jeep Wagoneer with the wood paneling, which either impresses Dame or just makes him roll his eyes at me as just another Carmelite. Which is it, Dame?
I love it. I'm very impressed.
God, Kristen, to impress Dame feels really good. Kristen, how much does this thing cost?
Did you tell us how big the perfumes were? No.
Perfume sized.
Really an ounce.
I mean, they're not 55-gallon drums.
Obviously, but they can be really expensive. These are $8,000 a piece because there's 60 of them, right, or something.
There are
66.
Six.
So for one of the little cars, I'm going to pay $8,000.
Okay, Dame.
Looks like that's a hood of a Rolls Royce on the front of this, Woody, which never existed. But I love this. It's gorgeous. And it's going to be way overpriced. So I'm going to go like $15,000 for this.
Guys, this might be collectively the best guessing you've ever had.
What?
$11,700 for this. And that is truly the best guesses you've ever had. Dave, before you get to the news this week, I want to mention the Fed decision is upon us. Hopefully I didn't just steal a news story for you. And the prediction markets are suggesting that in the last week, the odds have changed. So there is now a 22% chance that there's a rate hike. And just a week ago, there was a 8% chance. Mm-hmm. So we've gone from a 8% chance to a 22% chance of a rate hike based on what is going on in the Middle East. And it's with that, Dame, what is in the rest of the news?
I'll just follow on to that. The Federal Reserve meets next week. For once, Wall Street doesn't seem convinced it knows what's going to happen, nor does Kalshi. The Fed has held interest rates between 3.5 and 3 3/4 all year. Cooler inflation data supports leaving rates alone, but rising oil prices and renewed conflict in the Middle East are raising concerns that inflation could accelerate again. Some Fed officials are reportedly pushing for a rate increase. Others believe the current policy is already restrictive enough. Complicating matters is new Fed Chairman Kevin Warsh, who's promised to restore price stability while revealing very little about how he plans to do it. So the Fed could raise rates, hold rates, or say almost nothing useful and remind everyone that the future's decisions will depend entirely on the data. At least one of those outcomes feels extremely predictable.
Before we react to this story, I did not start the timer on this segment, so I have no idea how much time is left. Could someone
4:30. We're at 4:30 right now.
Okay. All right. So Dame, what do you think happens next Wednesday?
I think they hold this time around.
Kristen?
Agreed. Hold.
I agree. The question in my mind, will anyone say drop? You know, will anyone say drop? Actually, I want to alter what I just said earlier. There are people, 23% of people think they're going to hike, and 2% of people think they're going to hike more than 25 basis points. So that is saying a quarter of people believe a hike is coming. Well, at least no one thinks a decrease is coming, because that was a thing for a long time, which there ain't no way.
Yeah, but they don't actually think that. They're just trying to bet on Kalshi.
That's a good point. Dame, do you think any of the governors will say they want to decrease rates? Yes.
I feel like there's going to be one or two that do. Just because that's the line they tell. But
who was it a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that was saying that, like, if you take out groceries, natural gas, and oil prices, inflation's not that bad?
Warsh.
Maybe one of them. It was him. Okay.
Yeah, Warsh. It's like, look, if you change the definition of inflation is not even bad at all. Yeah. That's like I told Sarah. I was like, pardon me, Mrs. Planner. I was like, look, if being bald means not having hair, yeah, I'm bald. But if being bald means this thing fell apart. Dane, what else is in the news?
I take the angle that passive investing may be creating a self-reinforcing cycle rather than focusing on, boy, that one fell apart really quick too.
Oh my gosh, what's happening?
Yeah. Passive investing has become popular because it's cheap, simple, and historically difficult for active managers to beat. But new research suggests that success may be now feeding on itself. When investors pour money into index funds, those funds automatically buy the companies inside the index. That's just how it works. The buying can push those stocks higher, which improves the index performance and attracts even more money. Meanwhile, companies outside the index receive none of that automatic demand, even when their businesses may be attractive. That doesn't mean passive investing is broken or that investors should abandon index funds, but it does raise an interesting question. Are the largest companies rising because their businesses justify it, or partly because trillions of dollars are programmed to keep buying them? Sometimes the simplest investment strategy can still create a very complicated market.
That's so interesting because my brain for the last 6 years has been trying to wrap around the fact that the more you put in the market, the more the market's going to increase. And when you have things like auto enrollment in 401k becoming more popular and wages are higher than they've ever been collectively, like, of course the market is going up. And at what, like, how much of that is attributable to just like ease, like, or reduced friction of entering the market for the average American? But my brain's not big enough to like fully wrap around that equation.
That's
the good news is, the good news, I think, with like what you're talking about, auto enrollment, the default investments are almost always target date funds now, which are widely diversified. So it's not like you're just sprinkling money into the S&P 500. It's thousands and thousands of companies that you're buying across that. So it's a little bit more liberal of an investment policy than just picking some of the biggest companies in the US.
I heard the worst economics theory I think I've ever heard earlier this week, and I want to share it with you, and I'm not going to tell you the source, although it is a very large source who has this theory. The theory is that oil prices were not rising as much as they theoretically should have, despite the fact that we have a dwindling reserve, because most trading, this is the theory, this may or may not be true. It's probably not. Most trading, commodities trading, is done via computers and now done via AI. And what AI is doing is gathering as much information as it can, including speeches and sentiment. So if the government is consistently saying there's nothing to see here, everything's fine, there's gas prices are fine, oil prices aren't too high, everything is fine, the theory is the reason why oil prices did not rise as much as they theoretically should have, given that our reserves have been drained, is because AI is picking up on the White House's thing, so it's a snake eating its own tail. But anyway, that's all we have time for this week. I can't believe it just left everyone with that terrible theory. Sending you good vibes, because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner. It's the Pete the Planner Show. Dame, I thought you were going, oh, it's a circular thing. And then I was like, oh, no, he's saying shut your lips.
It up.
942, he nailed it.
Kristen, are you eating lettuce?
I have had lettuce, yes.
Dame, a lot of people are saying lettuce are the new GLP-1s.
I've got a suit I'm going to have to squeeze into in a couple months. I'm thinking about just eating lots of lettuce, not just for the caloric side, but maybe the little extra.
Have you eaten lettuce?
I have twice this week.
I have not yet. Mrs. Planner is terrified of lettuce right now.
Really?
I'm wearing a new suit today that I got about a month ago, and it's a different cut. Like that, Dame, I don't know, you're not buying a lot of suits, but the thing these days is they're not as slim and tapered as they used to be. I look like I got drafted in the 1994 NBA draft. Like they're really baggy.
Yes.
Really baggy. And they're wildly comfortable. But I do look like Tracy McGrady.
You know, you don't have to follow fashion trends if they are dumb.
But the time to do that would have been when everyone was wearing suits that had skinny legs.
You know who else says that is Kristen Elenius, art house model.
I guess we've never been on the cover of Pattern, so what do we know?
Okay. All right. If you've missed this week's show, please go. I don't know how you've gotten to this point of the podcast and missed this week's show. It's so dumb.
That's fair.
Here's what I mean to say. Go watch this on YouTube, and in the second segment, watch Kristen just work the model runway with the art house lighting. It is unbelievable, and it's the best.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Everyone isolate and stare at Kristen's face in the second segment of this show.
Was hoping we could forget that ever existed.
Get the biggest screen you have in your house and watch this on it.
No, please don't zoom in on my face.
That's like the
It's fine
TV
on
that
a
handsome
small screen.
TV that Handsome Lee has that's backlit and has all the fancy. I mean, it'd be great on that.
Okay, everyone watch Kristen's face. That's it. Stay getting money.